and if he doesn't, it will be as much the same, if not a stoppage win for Usyk.
Danny Gathone for Pro Boxing fans. We're at the Garrison pub in Barnsley. Not sure I'd ever thought I'd be saying that. Johnny Nelson, you were on MC duties for the Callum Simpson fight night, fight week party. Good crack in here tonight. Did you enjoy it?
You know what? I opened this pub 6 years ago. I did, yeah. When I walked, I think I've been here before. You saw just a few of his friends out there and friends out there, packed to the rafters. You could hear the noise that these lot made. Can you imagine what it's going to be like on August the 3rd? Today, Zach Shelley came up from London, suited and booted, looked the part, and he's prepared to step into the Barnsley Lions den. I think it's going to be such a raucous crowd that night behind their man Callum Simpson. There used to be a young man called Chris Saunders from Barnsley that could fight. It was tough as old boots. I think it boxed Kevin Lewisham, but you're too young to remember all these fighters. If you're from Barnsley, these boys can fight, man. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's a tough fight, but I think Callum has bigger plans, so he has to get through this and get used to this, get used to the attention, get used to the success, and get used to. And I suppose Zach's right, fighting now before this kid develops and gets better and better. So there's still some naivety about Callum, but will that naivety be exposed against Zach Shelley? I don't know, but it will be good. It will be interesting.
You touched on Zach Shelley there, very much going to be the pantomime villain at Oakwell when these two meet. Callum said, I'm not sure if it was up on stage or in the VT, but he feels like Zach's reached his ceiling. He sort of tried and tested at that domestic level, and as Callum's words, it won't go any further beyond that. Is that a fair assessment? Is that harsh? Or do you think that's accurate based on what we've seen?
From Callum's point of view, I can understand him saying that. I've seen Zach's fights, and Zach is an amazing gatekeeper. So if that is his ceiling, you've got to get past him. You've got to get past him, and that's not an easy gate to get through. And Callum will have the right to say that if he gets past him. But until then, he's got to buckle down, get the job done, get him beat, and then talk like that.
Interesting fight for sure, Johnny. I've got to get your thoughts on the card at the weekend, starting the main event. Is Chris Smith good, or Richard Riakporhe? Which of the two do you think played a bigger factor in the result we saw?
Both, I think. Chris Smith showed discipline in sticking to a game plan, heart, determination, confidence, right attitude in regards to getting there. He wanted it like he was the challenger. Richard Riakporhe, I don't think he got beat. I thought he lost, and there's a difference. And I'm quite sure, regardless of how you view it, you'd probably agree with me. Richard smothered his own work, and I'm quite sure on Sunday he looked at that and thought, what have I done? For now, Richard has got to look at that and think he's got to want it more than everybody else, like Chris did. Chris wanted it more than anything and anybody else, and he's champion. That's the attitude Richard needs to have in this, and if he wants to eventually capture a world title. It's his first loss in his career, and the style of fight just told me that he didn't want it enough. He wasn't willing to commit enough in regards to how he's fighting, the style of fight. Initially, he started off with an amazing jab. I thought, wow. You saw flashes in round 9, so you could do it. But in the rest of the time, he'd hit and grab and hold. And Chris kept his work up constantly. And you've got to give it to him. And I always seem to bet against Chris, but again, he's an honest pro that just gets the job done. So good on him. Well done.
Chris has made no secret of what he wants, trips to America, unifications. But in terms of Richard Riakporhe, how long and how difficult is the road back to that sort of level again? Big stage, and he didn't really sell himself in the best light.
You know what? There's a possibility that he's now going to be there, not in the winning corner. And he's got to go in there he's got to hope for the opportunity, someone to say, I'll give this guy a crack. He's boxed for a world title. He's only lost one fight. He's got a good rating. It looked good getting him with this guy. He's got to hope one of the champions look at him and pick him as a voluntary, or fight his way into a mandatory position. So they've got to fight him. But what he needs to do is he needs to be prepared to learn massively from that. I keep giving, I see the crap that's said about Angel Fernandez. I think Angel Fernandez is a good trainer. His only crime is that he loves his fighters, and and they're his mates more, and I understand that, but he's got to talk to them like you would your child. Say, listen, I'm going to do what's best for you, and if you don't like the message right now, you won't, but you'll be the one that benefits in the end. And the instructions were spot on in the corner. I know Angel's probably taking a lot of things personally in regards to this because he's passionate about his fighters. But Angel's a good coach, and I think Richard, as I said, he lost the fight more than got beat.
Got to ask you about Whittaker, Johnny. Always talking points whenever he fights. Now I think people, they've decided whether they like or they don't like the showboating, but another criticism that's come up recently is a perceived lack of punching power. That's sort of 2 fights in the row against fighters he's beaten visibly levels above that he's not managed to put away. Do you think that's just him as a fighter? He maybe doesn't have that one punch power to put these guys away, or is it when you're in against there someone who's not necessarily trying to win becomes more difficult?
He might not be obviously concussive, but Ben can hit, and when you've got speed, you've got and timing, you can bang. There was a fighter called John the Beast Mcguigan, again, you know, you youngsters will probably not be familiar with him, and he was tough. The man was tough as old bulls. You could throw the kitchen sink at him and punches just bounce off him. And I thought Ezra was that kind of fighter. He was just a tough kid. 12-0, knocked 10 of them out. So he was no pushover. And maybe because he got the opportunity the way he did, people thought, well, he should get this done. Now, if I'm honest with you, I thought the same. But you know, Ezra Naniki, he showed that, you know what, I've got this. I can do this. You know, stuck it out. So then people are questioning Ben. I think the 10 rounds for Ben were the best 10 could have happened. You know, I think it was 8th fight, 8 professional fight. I think he needs these. He needs people that aren't just going to fold when he puts the pressure on him. He needs someone that's going to get in his face. He needs someone that's going to challenge him. So slowly but surely, you know, those challenges are going to get harder and tougher, because if he really wants to be a world champion, he's got to fight those kind of people now on his way up there.
Just moving away from Saturday night, Johnny. Tyson Fury, we saw back in the gym and training for the rematch with Oleksandr Usyk. You've said in the past you don't feel that fight will necessarily happen. People got up in a big stir about it, but with the caveat, if the fight does happen, how do you see it going? I know my colleague spoke to Mcguigan, and he said that he thinks Usyk will actually stop Tyson Fury if they do meet in December. What do you think happens if they do meet?
I'd agree with that if nothing's changed in camp. I'd agree with that. So say, for instance, the fight did happen. If nothing's changed in camp, I agree. I think Usyk stops them. For that not to happen, there needs to be some fundamental changes surrounding Tyson Fury and this camp. And if he doesn't, it will be as, you know, much the same, if not a stoppage win for Usyk.
When you say fundamental change, is that change in personnel potentially?
Personnel, attitude, and these are massive things he needs to be comfortable addressing, or someone needs to be courageous enough to address it, to put it to him. See you later. Thank you. See you later. Someone needs to be courageous enough to put it to him. The problem is, this is part of the problem. Nobody's courageous enough to put that to him. And so, if that has not changed, nothing else will change.
Well, Johnny, we seem to be wrapping up here, so I'll let you go, top man. Thanks for speaking to us.